Hello everyone again, it's Joanna here from Joe's Hope and this is interview 2. As you can see, I've got my lovely learned friend here, Tracey, and she's going to speak to you all today. So, hi Tracey.
Hi Jojo.
How are you doing?
I'm doing okay today. Today's a good day, yes.
Good. So, would you do me the favour and just give everybody a quick 5-minute synopsis or even less of you and your type of cancer, please?
Yeah, well, I'm Tracey, as Jojo said. I'm 56 years old. I am a very busy person. I work as a director over at a hospice. And when I'm not working over there, I am looking after the family, 2 grown-up boys and a hubby, and most of the time I tend to inherit one of my son's dogs as well. So it's a busy life, and that's about me at the moment. At the moment, gosh, I guess I'm on the road to recovery after cancer. I don't know whether there'll ever be a point where I feel fully recovered, but I'm getting there, and I tend to take each day as it comes and try and take each challenge head on. Cancer was diagnosed in 2015, the last one. A bit of a bummer because I just got remarried. So, met my partner 13 years ago, and we decided to get married in 2015. Had a fantastic wedding in the September, great travel, family and everybody there. And it's quite ironic because when we were deciding what sort of wedding to have, I said, we only ever get all our family together if it's funerals these days. I don't want that. Let's just get as many of the family together for the wedding. So it was fabulous. It was, cousins, aunts, uncles, all the brothers and everybody got together, really relaxed in a barn, great fun.
Wonderful.
Disappeared off from there, had 3 weeks honeymoon over in South Africa, came back really on a high. This is a new part of my life. And hubby decided he had to go over to Kuala Lumpur, so he works abroad occasionally. He went over to Kuala Lumpur, and whilst he was there, I thought, I think I've got a lump. And it was in my left breast, and slight concern because I'd had cancer there before 20 years ago, and I'd had a lumpectomy.
Was that in the same breast?
Same breast. So as soon as I felt this lump, I just knew in my gut it wasn't right. And I was weighing up, pulls out the country for a couple of weeks. Do I just go and see a doctor now? Do I hang on? Do I try and ignore this? I went off to a conference at work, thought, I won't worry about this till he comes back, but you do. I could feel the lump. So I booked an appointment with my GP and arranged that. So I went and picked Paul up from Heathrow, came back straight to the doctor's surgery. He didn't know anything until I picked him up at the airport and said, oh, by the way, we're stopping at the doctor's on the way home. Walked in, saw my GP, asked me if he could examine me, took one look and said, well, we can see the lump anyway. So the lump was visible externally by that stage, so it was rapidly growing. And that's when you just suddenly go into sort of self-defense, sort of panic mode. So part of it was, well, I've had small lumps removed before, they've been fine, don't panic about this. But my gut knew this was different. So we just went straight into the whole, you're now back into cancer care now, and everything picks up from there.
So can I just ask, prior to finding this lump, how often were you going to the hospital for checkups?
I'd been given the all clear, so when I'd had the cancer 20 years ago, I was sort of early 30s. So at that stage, they decided they only need to do a lumpectomy, had no chemotherapy or radiotherapy. So I was put on monthly check, 3 months check, which then gradually extended out. And after 10 years, they said, absolutely fine, you are the same risk as anybody else, of the population, don't need to worry about this anymore. And because it was a lumpectomy, I decided then I wasn't going to go for any surgery, so I wore a prosthesis for all that time.
Oh.
She was called Hilda. So close friend. She was nicknamed Hilda. She went everywhere with us. Occasionally got lost in the sea and swimming pools and things. But I decided I wasn't going to put myself through any more surgery. So it was a bit of a bummer to sort of suddenly, you go through the whole, as soon as the doctor had seen me and said that, within a week I was being seen at the hospital. They did the mammograms, they did the scans, they took a biopsy, and on that same day they called Paul in, because Paul had decided he'd sit outside, and they called him back in the room. He then said he then went into a bit of a meltdown because he hadn't seen so many people fussing around someone, and they said that although they needed to send it off for further analysis, they were 99% certain that it was cancer, and it was spreading pretty quickly. It was growing pretty quickly, and it was I think it was stage 3, grade 3. So they would need to do something, and they put me in for the following week to come back and see the surgeon. And which I did. So I saw the surgeon, and his first thing he said to me was, "When you had the cancer 20 years ago, did they not do? Did you have any radiotherapy, chemotherapy, or anything?" And I said, "No, they decided not to." And his words were, "Well, if they'd done it then, you might not be here now," which wasn't the most.
That's not what you want to hear at the time, is it? Now,
sympathetic that I wanted to hear. But what he said was, because of the size of the lump, they wouldn't be able to save any of the breasts, so it's going to have to be a full mastectomy. And did I want to think about reconstruction? And I was going through my head, I've just got married, and when I met Paul, I'd gone through that emotion of showing him my scars because it had been a lumpectomy, and he was absolutely fine with that. But I was thinking, what's he going to feel like? If I completely lose one breast, what am I going to feel like? So at that stage, I did decide that I wanted to go for reconstruction, but it was decided the reconstruction would be one that we do after the surgery. I'd need the surgery, and then at the time they actually said they didn't think I'd need chemo. They thought I'd need radiotherapy, maybe not chemo. But once they'd done the surgery, it was, no, you definitely need to do, chemotherapy. So they removed the breast, but all the reconstruction was then put off post having the chemotherapy and all that done, and making sure I didn't need radiotherapy at the end.
So did you have chemotherapy?
Yes, I had the FEC2 chemotherapy, so every 3 weeks, so for 6 sessions, so it was over the 18 weeks. Gosh, it was awful. I don't think anything ever prepares you for it. My mum died of cancer. She had ovarian cancer and stomach cancer, and I spent a lot of time with her. And even though she'd had chemo and that, and I'd seen the effects on her body, you still don't adjust to it. You still don't. It still comes as a absolute shock.
Yeah.
So I was, I wasn't liking my body anyway because of having had the surgery, and then when I went into the chemo, they suggested, one of the things I could try was the ice cap to protect my hair. I suffer from migraines, so I had to get them to take the ice cap
The ice
off.
cap did not work then?
It was
It's horrendous.
It was excruciatingly painful, sent me into a migraine. So I just accepted, no ice cap, I'm going to lose my hair. And by the time I got to the second session, most of the hair had fallen out. My son, I've got my 2 boys, one's 36 now, the other one's 33, agreed that I look like Gollum. this little shriveled body with a bald head with little bits of tufts of hair that was sprouting over here and there. So at that stage it was like, go to the hairdressers and get it shaved off. So I got it completely shaved off early. And actually I adjusted quite well to not having any hair. And I've got some photos now and I think, well, actually I don't look too bad not having hair.
You don't at all, I've got to admit that.
But what I really struggled with was I didn't mind losing body hair.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't thought that you lose all your body hair.
Yeah, I just want to make a point there that when Tracey talks about losing hair, she just doesn't mean the hair on her head.
Yeah.
It's all hair, eyebrows, eyelashes, everything. All the hair falls off your body.
Yeah, and I think that was the hardest for me. Was I got through about 5 sessions of chemo before my eyebrows went and my eyelashes. And one of the things I've always had is long, thick eyelashes. Mm-hmm. And I was heartbroken. I could cope with the hair. Yeah. The fact that they were falling out and I was still putting mascara, even if it was 1 or 2 eyelashes, they were still going to have mascara.
You were going to get that mascara on
to the very end. And I thought, they talk to you. You've got these things about where you can pencil your eyebrows on. Yeah. No, I can't. It just didn't work. So I think it was at that stage that I was probably at my lowest ebb, because up until then I think I'd almost convinced myself I looked okay. Mm-hmm. Looked quite funky with my bald head. And people might think, I just shaved it myself, rather than sort of suddenly realising that actually I'd lost all this hair. And then when the chemo finished, that's when I lost my nails, and I lost my toenails, and I lost my fingernails. And I think people had said, I sort of read somewhere, and my oncologist said you might lose, the nails, they might get weak and everything. Nobody had described the pain to me, that they don't just come off in one go. So I sort of thought, if you have an accident, you knock your nail off, or if you break your nail, it's
but all your nerve endings are in your fingers and your feet.
But they were just hanging off, and they were hanging off for days before they literally came off. So the pain from that, and you think, God, I've got through all this chemo. The chemo, I was, it was the normal cycle. For the first couple of days, I felt fine. The next few days you'd be crawling along the floor because you felt so bad. And then I'd gradually pick myself up, and I did continue to work. So working over at the hospice, they were really flexible about my hours and what I wanted to do. So the weeks I felt good, I actually went into work. So that was sort of breaking up the cycle, and I think that was sort of helping me. But the whole time you're building up to, you're going to go through the next part of it again. But I think it's, you finally get over that 6 weeks, and you think, right, well, I'm going to rebuild now. And then at that stage to start losing your fingernails and your toenails, and your hair's not growing back, and you're thinking, well, it's done now. Where's my hair? Come on.
As quick as it goes, it's as quick as you expect it to return, isn't it? You think, right, okay, it disappeared after 1 session, so why have you not come back?
Where is it?
Yes.
And actually, if I look back now at photos, I did keep a video. I did a Facebook. Every time I went for chemo, I took a Facebook picture, and then I described quite openly to my friends and family how I was feeling, whether that was great or whether it was absolute. And I was honest that today I've had temper tantrums and refused to take my pills because I can't cope with having any more pills put in me. Today's when I was feeling bright and bubbly. But it was really cathartic for me at the end of, when it got to the end of the treatment, almost to play that back and put it into a video. Mm-hmm. And actually realise, God, did I really look that awful? Because I think you kid yourself. I think you're so busy fighting and telling yourself that you look okay. I think, why are these people looking at me? I a lot of the time when I was at work, I didn't wear anything on my head. The only problem I had there was when I popped down into our inpatient unit one day, and I think they thought the family thought I was a patient and offered me a seat. And it was like, no. Have you seen my name badge? I'm a director here. I work here. I'm not ill. And so that was a bit of a shock. But I tended to just wear like a cotton beanies and that. But I'd go, you'd go in, you get on the train or you go in a cafe somewhere, and I think, well, why are these people looking at me? Why are people feeling sorry for me? I'm alive. I'm here. This is me. So I struggled with that, I think. So it was good to sort of look back and reflect on it, and then you sort of got over that part of it and thought, right, I can now start to get myself fit. And my idea was to phase myself back into work and get back to normal. And I'm quite a pragmatic person. You just get on with it. And what I hadn't counted for was all the side effects that were left over from having the treatment. So the pains in the joints, particularly in the finger joints and the fingernails, and it's what you said before about the nerves, and in my feet. So that 4 months after finishing the chemo, I was still shuffling like an old lady across the room because I couldn't walk properly, because they'd said the chemo had damaged the nerves in my feet and my hands. So I think that's when it really starts to knock you back, because you want to get better.
It's at the time where everybody's looking at you saying, treatment's finished, come on, pull yourself together.
People want you to pull yourself, and they can't. Your hair's starting to grow back. My eyelashes and my eyebrows were starting to grow back. My most exciting day, I said, I've got to shave a hair off my leg. So you start to get that, but nobody sees the other bits. And so it was backwards and forwards with the oncologist about, had to be, what drugs was I on, and then the drugs that I was on for, instead of tamoxifen, they put me on letrozole. That was affecting my joints more, so I had to come off the letrozole. Tried tamoxifen, but that will put weight on, and I'm thinking, I've already put all this weight on with the treatment. What I don't necessarily want is putting more weight on, but you haven't got a choice. So this is my tamoxifen tum that just wobbles and stays with me wherever I go.
It's beautiful.
Yes, it's my beautiful tum, but it's like I've given up weighing now because it's not going anywhere. I would just be me. So I think you adjust with the pills, and you start to try and rebuild. And then there was a bit that then said, well, okay, am I ready now to start with the reconstruction? Reconstruction's great. It's great to have an implant in there. And although the plastic surgeon had talked to me before around how this would work, they have the implant and then they gradually inflate the implant. It's the most weirdest sensation you can imagine, because one, you're laying there and you've got a chap standing a few inches from you, and literally he's pumping up your boob. And you can only pump it up a little at a time as he stretches the skin and the muscles, and you can just see this gradual increase in boob size. And then the guy wants to take photos every time to see what's happening. So when you go back, a few weeks later for the next appointment, he'll show you the photos. Do I want to look at myself on his computer screen? No. But so gradually we did the inflation, and that continued through into the autumn, and then towards probably the end of October in 2016, he said we could book me in to do the full proper reconstruction, which meant taking out this temporary implant, putting in the new implant, and they also do a reduction the other size. Well, I'm not that big to start with, but so I was a bit alarmed that they needed to do a little bit of a reduction, but that would be done. And then the final thing that they'll end up doing is giving you a new nipple. I'm still waiting for the nipple.
Are you going to have it tattooed?
I am having it tattooed.
Wonderful.
But I think probably the most upsetting by it is I don't know why you convince yourself in this head, because I can still see all these scars. So the scar is right across here, and on the reduction it's right across here, and it's under my arm. But in my head, you see all these supermodels that have their boob jobs.
You can't see a thing, can you?
That's what I was going to
You
look
can't, you can't see a thing when they've had these boob jobs and all this plastic surgery.
I'm thinking, well, okay, I've got 2 boobs now that are just about the same size, but it still feels like I've got a sack of coal or something in this side. It's the really weird sensation because it's completely numb. So they're and yes, they warn you about this, but all you're going through is, I need to get better. I want to fix this. So I don't think it ever sinks in. So when you finally, you've got the reconstruction, and you're like, yes, it's lovely that I can wear clothes now and feel I'm the same size, and I'm not conscious of that. But it's the most weird sensation that this part of my body is numb, and to me, it's still very, very ugly. It still has the scars across it. I know I'm going to get the nipple sorted at some stage, but that's not going to change the ultimate sort of shape and size and what it looks like. So I've gone through this whole thing, and I think part of the biggest thing for me was I could deal with the work bit. I could get myself fit to do that, but it was that loving myself and my body. And I don't think I'm an over vain person, but it was just every time you catch a glimpse of the scars and your body and that in the mirror, it just reminds you how devastating, and you've just been mutilated, and I think that's all you could describe it as. So I think that links into, you go back to, I just got remarried. This was going to be, yes, we'd lived together a while, but this was our new life, and we then went from being sort of really, really close to, yes, we're really close as a couple, and Paul is my best friend, but do we have sexual relationship? I'll be completely honest, that isn't there at the moment, because I've just not felt up to it. I don't have any sensations like that. The whole time I still feel I'm fighting to get me fit in my body, and I know there's part of me thinks that's not fair. It's not fair on my partner. It's not helping him and what he needs. But it's a reality of cancer that just needs to be talked about so much more. And we've been away a few times for some really, really lovely holidays since, and I get this notion in my head that, okay, we're going away to this really romantic hotel, and we go for a romantic dinner and everything, but I'm thinking, is he thinking? He can think as much as he bleeding wants, because the body isn't doing it. There's nothing there that's there. So it's still part that I don't know quite where that's going to go. Paul would never, ever moan, but I think sometimes I think some of the life statements that he says, or your family say, or friends say about, well, you're lucky to be alive. You fought this wonderful battle. You're really brave. Well, I wasn't brave. I didn't have any choice. It wasn't a battle that was fought. It's something that's ongoing every day. And I think it's almost, you get the sense that people think you should just be grateful now.
Yeah.
And I think, well, I'm not grateful, because my body's been mutilated. I've still got the pains in the joints and that I have to deal with. You still take a minimum of 10 pills every day, so that makes it abnormal. And my blooming hair came back grey and curly. So I'd done everything. Over the last few years, it was as little grey hairs came through. My hair was always platinum blonde, and it's always been dead straight. And I've always had it short, and I didn't mind it. No, I didn't mind it being short. But even when it decides to come back grey, I thought that's fine because I can cope with silver grey, but I can't cope with curly. And it's not even if it's curly all over. It's this short. It's fine. You have little curls. Once it starts to grow, my husband's nicknamed me the next Doctor Who. He says I look like Peter Capaldi on a bad day, and because I knew we were having this interview today, last night I had my hair because I didn't think the public could cope with the wild look. And it sounds daft, and everyone says, "Oh, it's fine. Your hair's healthy and that," but it's not me. You know, I've never. If you've never had hair like that, if you've always had a style and something that was you, I look at pictures and that, and I've got pictures around the house that are me with the kids and kids growing up and my husband and the wedding, and then I look at pictures now, and it doesn't matter how much you try and think, well, like it's a different you. There's little, and it's those silly things that you think, if only my hair was normal, I could live with this better. or so. I guess that's where I am with it. It's I'm doing my best. I have good days. I have bad days still. I struggled a bit with work still understanding. So although it's a hospice and you think they're dealing with this day in day out. Mm-hmm. One of the things that I've struggled with some of them, particularly understanding because they can't see the physical symptoms.
Yes,
now,
I think that's the main thing. Yeah.
It's the tiredness that I still can get very tired.
Yes.
And I've seen occupational health. I'd lead the HR team. I would go and see occupational health. And they have said try to work at home 1-2 days a week. Just balance your hours. And on paper, everybody says they're supportive, but it's you're taking pills that affect your cognitive abilities. So my mind is slower.
A lot slower.
I do make silly mistakes. I will draft a report, and whereas before there was a lot of attention to detail, I have to get someone else to proofread it because I'm not noticing things. But I think it is that tiredness and that understanding where I just have to say to people, sometimes you just have to accept.
Yeah.
I can't do this.
Yeah.
And
it's acceptance, isn't it?
And there's in my role as a director, I'm dealing with lots of complex things all the time, and I tend to try and put things into. I try and compartmentalise my life so I get into work and I'm juggling and dealing with that, but I then have to have that switch off thing.
Yeah.
And I'm really trying to discipline myself, and I've been having some personal coaching on it about almost creating those bubbles that are mine, so that I can almost step into my own bubble that says nobody else can come into this space. Yeah. This has to be me, because So I guess it's about having that space that I still allow myself time to heal, and then just remind myself that actually I was pretty poorly 12, 18 months ago. And 12 months ago I was just getting to the end of chemo. So probably being a bit kinder to myself, trying to be a bit more patient with myself, try not to do everything, even though I did love doing things like the zip wires and climbing a mountain a few weeks ago, and I have booked to go to the Lake District so we can do a bit more walking. And I've got a friend who's trying to persuade me to do a wing walk with him. Slightly worried about that because of my weight gain, that he's very skinny. There might be some ballast on his side.
Balance issues, it's alright.
I think that might be embarrassing that I'm the heavyweight and the guy is the lightweight. But I guess it is that thing about just getting back that joy and that lust for life, and trying to take each day as a time, trying to do every challenge that's coming, but at the same time trying to balance it with looking after myself, because I know you tell me off, Jojo, if I don't.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to create, Tracey, here in Joe's Hope, a service and a system that will help people. I know that you talked at length during this interview about how it affected you personally and the loss of your hair and eyebrows. And how important do you think it is for us to provide this service to women so that women can actually look in the mirror and actually still continue to feel good and look good during their...
I think it's critically important. I was quite lucky with my treatment because my husband's private healthcare has covered my treatment. So in one sense, it was brilliant. So I could have, you know, all my doctors, all my chemotherapy, my oncology, everything done privately. But what it did mean was I was actually really quite isolated because I was going to a clinic as an individual and wasn't part of any real group that was going on. And all I was talking to was oncology nurses, so there was no one really that I could approach or talk to about how I felt and how it was affecting, you know, me and my looks and stuff. And I did, you know, I sort of looked up online and it was like, well, you know, maybe I could contact that hospital because they're running some groups, or you know, there's this website here. But when you're fighting and you're fighting on your own, you need local groups. You need to have contact with others that are going through similar. And I didn't really have that. So, you know, it was, you know, I was almost ashamed to go and ask, you know, someone to help me with my makeup or something. I didn't want to go into somewhere like Debenhams or John Lewis and the makeup counter and say, gosh, look at me now. What can I do with this face? I was lucky that one of my local hairdressers is tied in with the Trevor Soulby cancer, you know, the now hair.
Wonderful.
So they had someone who was trained with dealing with people who were losing their hair. So that's the lady that shaved my hair. I did buy a wig through them. The wig is still sitting at home in the box because I wore it once and it wasn't me and it wasn't comfy, and to be honest it was just a really rushed thing. It was like I was in there and I just wanted to get out as quick as possible.
Yeah.
I didn't feel that I had anyone, you know, I was in a normal hair salon, so whilst they sort of took me to a private bit to one side, I wanted to get in there and get out really quick because everybody else there had luscious long locks that they were having styled and
people don't understand that being around other people who are not going through the same thing as you, it really does have an effect.
So yeah, I think it's so important to have, you know, I would have loved to have somewhere that I could go to that I would have felt I was with a warm group of friends
who understood and knew and were going through the same thing as you.
Same thing, and half a dozen of us trying on different
wigs together,
and having a laugh and having a joke and finding what worked. The number of times I've seen people now that are wearing wigs, and I think they did the same as me, because I think, why would you have chosen that wig? And I think they probably did it because it was just get that and get out of here. I would have loved to have been with a group sort of trying the makeup and different things. I've never worn false eyelashes or things in my life, and you read it online, or try false eyelashes, and I thought, I've never worn them, I haven't worn them normally.
Exactly.
How would I know now? And when I inquired about where they do some groups with the hospitals, it was, well, yes, but it could be several months before you get onto that group. Well, I needed it now.
You needed it now.
So that wasn't available. And then I guess it's the other things like, I couldn't believe how much things like bras were around. You know, the fact that I was one of the really fortunate ones, but you know, the cost of things like, you know, the bras, and you know, when I wanted to get a swimsuit and thinking, well, you know, I need to get a swimsuit that's going to hold the prosthesis. How can they charge that much?
How is it justifiable to charge somebody that much?
Yeah, extra bit, a cotton pocket that's inside, and I am not creative, and I don't do. I will sew a button on. I will sew up a hem. I'm not someone that would sit there and do my own handkerchief pocket inside to keep my prosthesis in place. So I ended up paying it out. But what went through my head was, you know, I've been really lucky and really spoiled, I think, with the treatment I've had. But I know lots of others that haven't and have really struggled. And you know, people, you start to really struggle financially. You know, you've lost the whole lifestyle that you had, because there's all this extra stuff that you have to buy. I've had to invest in a lot of really soft, gentle trainers and things because my feet have been so painful that I couldn't walk on them. So your normal shoes and everything, and it's just all those add-ons that no one would ever think twice about, that this is part of the cancer. Going out and buying lots of different style clothes because
They need to sit differently.
They've got to fit better. You're a different body shape and you've changed anyway. But then I don't want to show the scars. So dresses that I would have worn before, or I ended up all my underwear went in the bin. Because it was a different size. So you're not just buying one or two bras. You've got to buy bras
for every occasion.
You're restocking for every possible occasion, and then you're restocking. You'll put a dress or something on that would have been fine before. It's not fine.
It's not
anymore.
fine now.
I think one of my other lowest points was we were going on holiday last year, and that was to do with the clothes and the body shape, because Paul said, I think it was last September, we'd finished the chemo and everything, we were going over to Mallorca for a week. And I thought, well, that's fine, because I'll get my summer clothes out from the year before, t-shirts and different things, and dresses, and nothing would fit. So one, because I'd put on the weight and everything because of the treatment and the drugs I'm on, and then because your body shape's changed. And I spent an hour upstairs in the top bedroom going through my summer wardrobe, literally throwing stuff on the floor, and I was in tears. I had tears coming down my face, streaming down my face, because I think it was that sudden reality shock that the old person, old me had gone. I came downstairs and Paul says to me, "You had a fun session." Does it look like fun? Black eyes, tears. And I said, no. I said, I think I've just realised how mutilated and changed my body is. And bless him, the next day he took me to Cambridge and we went and bought a whole new load of sort of clothes to take away on holiday. But it was that thing, it's that whole body shape thing that I think, your cancer charity will really help. Because nobody it is that thing that, be grateful that you're alive. Well, actually, I am grateful that I'm alive, but I want to be fit and healthy again, and I want to have that self-esteem back. And I would love to be there where, I go in and I try clothes on and that now, and my head still wants to do stuff that was right before, and it's not right now. So I want that, that support group, that some way, again, that you're with a group of people that, it's not just from the underwear, it's everything else that you wear. It's your hair, it's your makeup, right the way through to, and then it's, additional things like, can we do something to, I think I always was quite a confident person before, and yes, I've struggled and I've been hit back a few times, but I've been really shocked by others about, how much it has affected their confidence and how they're struggling just to get back into day-to-day life. And I think what's happening is you get to your end of your treatment and then we'll see you in a year for your mammogram and your checkup. There isn't that support afterwards. And there isn't that support for you, and there isn't that support for your family, and there isn't that support for your friends. So you're almost in a different world, in a different environment, and you're trying to be the old you, but the old you isn't there anymore.
So what do you think I could do to drum up more interest to people to get them to donate their pennies?
I think it's awareness. I think an awful lot of it's awareness, and I think what you're doing today, not just my interview, but where we're interviewing others, I think one of the things I've learned, and certainly working for the charity, the hospice is a charity, is the biggest thing that makes a difference is when people can understand people's stories. So I think people will throw money over, let's try and stop cancer, and huge pot of money that will go in there for
cancer research, etc.
You've got breast cancer, the big charities, and it's almost that they feel they're doing the right thing there. I think people don't understand the knock-on effects of what cancer do. So the more that you can do about selling people's stories and really getting people to understand that wider picture, that yes, it would be fantastic if there was a cure and nobody had to go through what you and I have been through, and what all our dear friends that we've met through this journey have been through. But it is about what else can we do to support. And I think if you can get more stories out there, if you can share some of the basic needs, and I think it's about maybe going and talking to some of the other companies that maybe that could support. So I know places like Boots and that do things for like national charities and that. I think Debenhams and their beauty and that will come along and do for the bigger charities. It's how you can get them to connect more into the smaller charities, and it's the local stuff, and it's the here and now that we want.
And it's funny that you end your conversation on the here and now, Tracey, because I think that is critical and pivotal of Joe's Hope. We're looking to help the here and now. We're not interested in 18 weeks waiting lists. We're just not trying to do that. We're trying to give people here and now what they need, whether that be microblading to give that person when they look in the mirror, woo, I've still got my eyebrows, for somebody to come in with no eyelashes and leave with eyelashes professionally done, with from only being made a small donation or whatever it is that person feels to make. But it's having that facility available in a safe environment, and by safe, it's an environment where you've got other people who have been through and are going through and are professionally trained with the issues that you face, not in a mainstream salon with people who haven't got a clue.
No, and I think that's really important. So I've had it where I go and get my nails done weekly, and the lady there said, "Oh, well, I can do your eyebrows and different things for you," but it wasn't the same. I didn't want to be in that environment. I wanted them coming to us, not us having to go to them.
Yep.
And I'm sure if we can get the charity more well known, people understand what we're trying to do. If you look at the hundreds of local beauticians and people that do nails and eyes and your makeup and that are around here, if they only gave up an hour of their time once a month, that would make a huge difference to so many people's lives.
So many.
And I just, unless you've been there, and unless you're the one that has to look in that mirror every day, and you've been there and you've cried the tears because you've lost yourself, you don't realise how important this is. And I just think what you're doing is fabulous, and I'll do everything I can to support.
Thank you. So, ladies, thank you for you coming and talking and being so open and honest. It's been truly appreciated.